What up, everybody, and welcome to Baz on Blades. My name is Baz, and I talk about blades, and today we've got a first-time product, first-time brand here at Baz on Blades. What we've got today on the tabletop is the Revo Knives Berserk Carry. This is the Berserk Carry model from Revo Knives. Revo Knives is a subsidiary, sort of a daughter company, maybe the budget brand of BRS Knives. If you are not familiar with BRS Knives, that stands for Booty Reach Around Service, and that's sort of a strange name for a knife company. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second, please. Yes. No. What do you mean? Are you serious? Okay, I apologize to everybody. Apparently, BRS does not stand for Booty Reach Around Service. It stands for Blade Runners System. Everybody on our research team is going to be fired. I guarantee that. I promise you that right now. No offense to Blade Runner Systems, and for all of you guys that were super duper excited about Booty Reach Around Service, just pretend that's what it means. That's what I'm going to pretend it means. So we've got the Revo Knives, a subsidiary of Blade Runners System. And this is the first Revo knife that I've had here at Baz on Blades. I've always loved this design since the first time I saw it. And we are going to talk a little bit about the Revo Knives Berserk Carry. Now, let's go ahead and pull some packaging in here. We've got some Revo branded packaging here, RevoKnives.com. This is your model for this gray-blue G10, and that is what the Berserk Carry is. It is a G10 half-scale model, and there is what you will be looking for in this color. What you will find in this box is you do get a Revo sticker. That's neat. That will go into the sticker collection, I guess. Then you've got some Revo information here on their company, their company ideals, their mission statement, their warranty information. The knife is going to come in here in this die-cut foam insert, and that is your packaging of the Revo Knives Berserk Carry. So let's bring this knife out here. We're going to go ahead and knock the numbers out on this knife. And that is the boring part of the review, but you need these numbers. So this is what I would consider to be a full-size EDC sort of knife. You're looking at 3 3/8 for your blade length. That's about 8.5 centimeters. Your blade width is an 1 3/8. That's about 35 millimeters. Your stock thickness, 148 thousandths of an inch, or 3.7 millimeters. Handle length, 4 5/8 of an inch, or slightly less than 12 centimeters. Your handle width at the widest, I got about 1 1/4 inches, a little bit over 31 millimeters. Your handle thickness, 512 thousandths of an inch, or 13 millimeters. Overall length, 8 1/8 of an inch, 20.5 centimeters. Stop pin diameter, I did have to estimate. I didn't want to disassemble for stop pin. It is a captured stop pin in here. I'm thinking it's about 3 millimeters. That's 119 thousandths of an inch. Blade to handle ratio, very efficient at 73%. Your weight, 5.57 ounces, or 158 grams. A little chunky. Wide profile, steel frame lock. You do have the front side is G10. That saves some weight. And there is another model of this that is called the Berserk Pro, or the Berserk Professional. The Berserk Duty is what it's called, and it is dual stainless slabs for a frame lock. I expect it to weigh at least 1.5 ounces more. So this is about the best you're going to do in this model. Now remember, it's a full-size knife. We're getting up close to about 3.5 inches of blade length and this width, fairly heavy stock thickness of 3.7 millimeters, 148 thousandths of an inch. So it's a chunky sort of little knife. Not too bad. I mean, I'm going to make some comparisons in the video as far as what it feels like in hand. It really reminds me of a lot of similar builds from Kershaw knives. In a stainless frame lock with some G10 on it. That's what it sort of feels like in my hands. Maybe because mostly in that build type, I'm more familiar with Kershaw models. Typically, when we see this in higher end knives, it would be, G10 or micarta or carbon fiber opposite a lighter weight titanium frame lock. But in this instance, it is stainless steel. Let's go ahead and go into materials. Your blade steel is 9CR18 MOV. That is a Chinese sourced stainless steel. It is one of those mid-grade stainless steels that I just basically slot into the 440 category as far as performance. You get decent edge retention, decent impact resistance, pretty good corrosion resistance. It's usually Rockwelled around the 57 to 59 range. To me, it performs a lot like 440C. The alloying is not precisely the same, but to me, that's basically what it is, and I think you will see that type of performance out of it. Into the handle, the show side is G10. You see there are no liners under it. G10 is plenty stiff enough. You do have a stainless steel frame lock side. You've got stainless steel small parts. You've got a stainless steel deep carry pocket clip, and you've got a black G10 backspacer here. That build feels pretty solid in the hand. Looking at the material wise, the price on this is sort of funny. I don't know how these Revo knives are distributed, but there's some sort of wankiness going in there because the prices for these are all over the board. You can expect for this model to pay anywhere from $40 to about $70. That's a crazy spread. I checked like 6 or 8 places, and the prices are just all over the place. Now, I did look up and I grabbed this on a sale at knifecenter.com and I paid $41 for it. It's been a couple of months ago because I got a backlog here on the review table, so I doubt it's still on sale. You can shop around if you're interested in this knife. Let's see, what else do we want to say about it? Oh, it is on bearings on your pivot. I'm sure there's steel bearings. I doubt very much they're ceramic. I have not disassembled this knife. It came out of the box centered. It came out of the box with decent action. It didn't feel dirty. I really wasn't that curious as far as looking on the inside of it. So I'm assuming that is steel bearings at this price point. I could be fooled. It could be ceramic. In the end, it really doesn't matter at this sort of performance level. The build type, we're not talking about a flipper folder here. You do have a thumb hole to open it up with. You can sort of spotty flick this knife, or you can get on it with your thumb and sort of, flick it out in the front. We'll get into that a little more lately, but it is very smooth, definitely on bearings. That deep carry pocket clip is reversible. So let's talk about fit and finish on this knife. The 9CR18 MOV blade, as far as the fit and finish goes, it does feature a dark washed, black washed, not washed sort of finish, whatever Revo calls it. Everybody's got their little catchphrase for that black coated and then stone washed sort of finish. It's attractive. It's on the lighter side. It shows a lot of detail. You can see this blade has got all kinds of grind detailing and character going on here, and that's what initially attracted me to this knife. I love that blade grind, and speaking of, It's pretty doggone well done. It is even side to side. The edge bevel is even side to side. Everything seems to be well done on this. I would say it is competitive with any other brand in its price range, and it's just a good looking blade. That's totally subjective. I'm not a huge Tanto type of person, but this is just a really, really good looking blade. And it's got sort of a surprise in the performance level, which we'll touch on later in the review. So as far as fit and finish up here, everything is done well, nice and pointy, because that edge grind is done very well. It's not rolled at the tip. We've got some nice blade thickness out at the tip because we've got this sort of compoundy sort of double flat grind going on. Behind the edge, it's pretty doggone thin. It's right at 19 thousandths behind the edge. On this edge, this shorter edge is about 22 thousandths. Not too bad. It's really behind the edge. It's sort of like a PM2. A Spyderco Paramilitary 2. It's in that 19 to 22 thousandths of an inch range, and it's pretty doggone slicey. It came from the factory with a decent edge on it. I won't say that it was dangerously sharp or anything, but it definitely had a good workable edge on it. Pretty fine edge as well, the way it was finished off. Whoever sharpened this, sometimes it can be a little touchy to sharpen sort of dual-edged Tanto grinds. They did a fantastic job on that, so kudos to whoever was sharpening for these knives. Fit and finish on the handle is... this is sort of a basic build, but I can't find anything wrong with it. No extraneous tool marks, no gaps in anything, nothing misfit. It feels very solid, very tight. It came, all the hardware was snug down. It feels solid in the hand, and the finishes on everything match for the most part. The first ding I will give this knife is I didn't really care for the mix in the dark finishes. The blade and the pocket clip match. The back side of the handle is just a black sort of semi-gloss sort of look. It is not tumbled at all. It's a solid black finish, and then of course you can see your hardware is sort of in between. It's sort of in between. So you got some multiple shades of black going on here. I wish they would have tumbled this back half. I think it would have brought the design a little more homogeneous, a little more together in that. But it's not bad. It's sort of a subjective type of thing. I'll ding it on that because I would have personally rather seen it tumbled, but that's neither here nor there as far as you're concerned. Maybe or maybe not, I don't know. I know everybody is still upset because BRS did not stand for booty reach around service, and you're like, screw that. I don't care what color of black it is. I wanted the booty reach around service, especially, in the $41 price range. Come on, who wouldn't? So there you go, fit and finish. Let's say you got a G10 backspacer here with a big old lanyard slot in it. If you like to use a lanyard, you can get 16 lanyards in there, guys. I guarantee that. I haven't tried it, but my personal professional estimation is that you probably could. And again, that pocket clip, which is deep carry, single plane, with a sort of round radius up tip, is reversible to the other side. In the grip, you've got two grip positions. The pocket clip's not bad, guys. It's not bad at all. I think it looks a little long. Again, that's subjective. Pocket clip looks matter a little bit to me, but functionality is more important, and it works just fine in the pocket. It's okay in the hand. Sort of low profile. It's got a decent amount of tension on it for how long it is. You would expect it the tension to be a little lower, but it's pretty decent, guys. And since it's resting against this smooth scale, it's not difficult to get in and out of the pocket, yet still has a decent clamping force to hold it in there. So fit and finish overall on this knife is pretty doggone good. At the price point that I paid, $41 and some change, I think it's excellent. At the upper end of the range that I saw for this, in that $60, $70 range, it's still excellent fit and finish. I would just, at that price point, I would want a little bit better materials, I think. Not that it's bad. It's not bad. 9CR18 MOV, G10, stainless frame lock, stainless small parts, bearings. That's not bad, guys. And there are brands out there that do this level at that higher price point. So it's still competitive as far as the market goes. Maybe not quite as competitive for Bazon blades. So let's talk about utilitarian usage and ergonomics. And we're going to talk about this blade first. Again, Bazon Blades is not a huge Tanto fan, and the Tanto profiles that I prefer are more curved, traditional Japanese profiles. I'm not really big into the more angular, geometric, westernized profiles like, say, Cold Steel does a lot of the times. I never was real big into those, other than they're really super easy to sharpen because you treat each section of the blade as a separate section, sharpen it separately. But other than that, I prefer a more Eastern sort of profile. But this blade really spoke to me. I think it is the outstanding aesthetic feature of this knife, hands down, with zero competition. Just look at that blade profile combined with the grind. Look at everything we've got going on in this grind. We've got this primary flat grind. We've got a secondary flat grind. We've got another grind up here for this center point sort of swedge. Again, you can see you've got plenty of thickness. You can see where the swedge sort of cuts in, but it flares back out here at the tip on this very short grind. Plenty of strength out there, and it's attractive. It is a very, very attractive knife. Even the holes in the blade, which I generally do not care for, I would rather have thumb studs as long as they're mounted in the right place. I would really rather have a flipper sort of build. But these holes, this sort of geometric design, it fits in with all of the grinds going on with this blade and the blade profile. I think aesthetically it is very pleasing. It gives it that berserk sort of look, an aggressive sort of look, and I like that. But it's very functional, and one of the hidden pluses in this knife is that you get more cutting edge than you do blade length. Now, let me talk about what I'm saying there. Typically, when I measure blade length, I do it the same on every knife. I go from the tip of the blade to the furthermost point of the handle scale. Typically, as far as blade length is concerned, for legal reasons, that is typically how they are measured. That's the standard that Bazon Blades uses. So you have, for the blade length to the furthermost part of the handle scale, 3 3/8 of an inch or 8.5 centimeters. But if you measure the cutting edge combined between the two distinct cutting edges for that 3 3/8 inch of blade length, you get 4 inches of cutting edge. Now for metric, 8.5 centimeters of blade length, you get 10 centimeters of cutting edge. Combined with a handle to blade length ratio of 73%, you are getting a ton of cutting efficiency out of this size of knife and that length of blade. So that is a plus in this. Not only does the blade look fantastic, it looks berserk, it looks menacing, it actually is a pretty damn good cutting knife. No doubt about it. And if you want to do some piercing, this primary edge here, I'm going to say primary. I've called it both ways in the review because I call the first section here primary, and then the second, the tip section, the secondary. But in this one, I'm going to reverse that for this purpose, in that this edge right here is the longer of the two cutting edges. So we'll call it primary. In the way it is ground with a much shorter grind that is thicker, it is going to be the piercing sort of cutting edge, where I would typically do my slicing and detail cutting back towards the back. This knife would be very good for tip cutting against a hard surface. If you want to drop the tail end down a little bit and you want to do some rocking cutting against a surface, that is a fantastic grind for that. Honestly, the blade is hands down the best part of this knife. Hands down, I love that blade. Now we'll go into the handle. The handle is fairly ergonomic. Like I said before, it does feature two grip choices. You can go to this first finger choil here and you can grip it. You can see the way it fits in my hand. Very compact. Again, I have large, medium hands with large hand volume, medium length, stubby fingers. I've got plenty of room there. You're a little bit back from the cutting edge on that, but for pokey cutting, I think that's okay. If you want to come up to this secondary choil, I like this grip position the best. I get further up, that moves the center point of the radius as far as rotation from my wrist. It gives me much more control of the tip. I can choke up on this cutting edge to do my detail cutting. It is extremely comfortable in my hand. You can see it would be very comfortable, again, medium large, large medium. If you've got extra large hands, it would work for you. Even Sasquatch handed guys, bless your heart, I think this will be really comfortable for you. Your thumb falls right on an extensive length of jimping. Very well done for both positions. Again, up on this closer choil, it just comes together as far as my grip goes. That jimping is well done, an extensive length of it, nice, deeply cut. Let's put some pressure on that with my thumb, and then we will take a look at the way it is effective. Plenty of flesh down in the troughs of that jimping, and it works very well. Now, as far as ergonomics of the handle, like I say, you've got two different hand positions. Both feel pretty doggone good. You do have a nice drop to the butt end of the knife. This long piece of G10 for the back spacer, it continues that out. I don't really feel the difference in the thickness back there on the handle. I don't feel anything poking into me there. Again, you've got two finger choils here. They're pretty wide open, large finger choils. So you're not very restricted there. Again, you've got two different major positions on that, and then the rest of the handle wide open. It is in a standard forward grip, very comfortable. In a reverse grip, not as comfortable for me because my fingers just don't fall right on those choils. It's not bad. It may be better or worse for your hands, and then you can cap the butt in here. So as far as ergos and utility go, the handle, very workable. Blade is the highlight. All right, so what does Baz on blades think about the Revo Berserk Carry? I like it pretty well. I love this blade shape. The handle works for me. It's a little chunky, it's wide, and it's a little heavy at 4.27 ounces or 120, or what I'm saying here, I'm sorry, 5.57 ounces or 158 grams. It may be too heavy for some people, and I understand that. For Bazon blades, the one thing that is going to keep this from staying in my collection is it is a dedicated blade hole opening system, and that is my least favorite type of blade opening system. Like I say, I would have preferred this to be a flipper or a thumb stud opener. So although this is not bad, it's just not my personal preference. Totally subjective, guys. You might prefer this. For you sort of guys that like to sit around and just flip your knives and play with them, you might absolutely love that. The detent is dialed in on it, and it's on bearings. So it's very smooth for that type of opening. Let's take a look at the centering here. It's right down the center, and there is zero play in this. It's nice and sturdy feeling. I didn't have to do much to it. I did put 1 drop of oil on the detent ball. It was dry. The bearings on the pivot were lubricated and they were clean. I didn't feel any grittiness in there. They were clean. It's just that type of opening system, even though it works well with this knife, is just not my favorite. So, can I recommend it? Yeah, I can recommend it, especially at the lower end of the price range. Say $40 to $45. I would say jump on it if you like this. Blade is spectacular, guys. Handle works very well. Fit and finish is good. At the upper end of that price point, it becomes a harder decision and a much more competitive market as far as material quality levels go. So that is going to be up to you. I can recommend it for what it is, especially at the lower price point. Beyond that, it will be up to you to choose whether you like the Revo Berserk Carry from the sister company of Booty Reach Around Service. Blade Runners System. Booty Reach Around Service sounds way better. You get this Booty Reach Around Service Revo Knives Berserk Carry, and I think you will be well served with it. So there you go, guys. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch one of my videos. God bless all of you, and we will talk to you again.